for a little adventure in Cecil. On this nice March Saturday in New Mexico. After doing the requisite hour of maintenance, I just did a little valve adjustment. With these air-cooled engines, you have to adjust the valves like crazy because they get tight upon use. So you have to loosen them up a little bit, and it makes it start easier, run better. Let's hope that I'm still very new at this, so let's hope that I was able to get it right. So I'm just going to go out and do a little exploration solo, which is what I've been wanting to do. That was the goal for Cecil, was to be my New Mexico kind of solo overlanding rig. So I've been keeping it pretty close to home, so if anything happens, I can call my son, I can call my wife in town here in Albuquerque, and we could have them come help me. But I'm branching further and further out. And I'm going to be doing some engine work in the next month or so, hopefully, to be able, I'm going to go down from a dual carb situation to a single carb situation with a CV Performance Weber carb setup that's supposed to be really, really high performance and also high reliability. If you can imagine such a thing in a 1966 bus. So that's kind of the big project coming up. And I'm going to do a little bit of outrigger work. The outriggers are kind of crusty, so we have remarkably inexpensive replacement outriggers installed by my local fab shop, and that should be what I'm doing. So up on that ridge, all the way along that ridge, is an awesome mountain bike trail called Dragon's Back. It's part of the White Mesa network. So we're doing the Ojeda Wilderness Area access trail that runs parallel to Dragon's Back. And and it's awesome. The trail, the single track trail, literally runs right along the spine of that ridge. Tremendous views everywhere. And there's a nice public parking space off of the main BLM road that runs in at the southerly side. So you might be wondering how a vehicle with 27-inch tires and, you know, not a ton of ground clearance is able to even drive on a road like this where you've got a big center mound between the two tracks. And the way it does it is it's because it's very early independent suspension. It's torsion beam suspension, which is just the most brilliantly simple form of suspension. Basically, there are just these beams that with a rubber bump stop, so it really can't bottom out, and of course normal shock absorbers. But it's incredibly comfortable. I mean, I'm driving in this vehicle with 30 psi in the rear and 25 in the front, which is road pressure, and it's probably the most comfortable, cushiony ride I've ever had off-road, including like aired down in Bumble. It just floats on a cloud, and it also has just tons of ground clearance up the middle. So there's really nothing there. There's a splash plate, which is kind of like a weak skid plate in the front, which is great for river crossings because you have no engine in front to worry about. So you can just haul right through rivers and splash it right up. And then it's got basically just the heater tube, which it doesn't even really work in this thing. So nor does it really need it. I found even on the cold days it gets quite warm in here, and maybe at night on a really cold day, but I wouldn't be driving in that weather most likely anyway. But even then, it's pretty well sealed, so I've not found the need for it. But basically, it's well protected underneath, and there's just kind of like with the Beetle, there's this huge kind of flat area that if it needed to, it could actually slide along something. There's really nothing to get caught. There are no axles to get caught. There are some slightly lower hanging cross members and things like that, but they actually not even. They're pretty well tucked up. So it's you would never think, but VW really did design these vehicles to be able to go on any actual road. It doesn't go off-road. It's not going to do that. It's not going to do rock crawling. It's not going to do super steep hills and stuff like that. But what it will do is it will do roads, even very, very crude, not maintained roads. It will drive them. As long as there's some sort of prepared surface area, it's going to do it. So pretty impressed so far. So that was when I discovered the buses, and I discovered Shasta Snow Trip on YouTube, and I was like, holy God, basically those guys are to VW buses what Stan Fuller and Jeff Petrovich are to Willys Jeeps. I mean, they're nuts. They're crazy. Going, hundreds of miles in the span of a few days through all types of weather, through snow, getting up in 4 o'clock in the morning and taking off, just crazy. And every last one of them being an incredible mechanic. They've been working on these vehicles for decades, and they can fix anything on the trail. It's amazing. So just to experience a little bit of that was incredible. And it really, this is right after I picked up Cecil, and I just like, what the hell? I'm up here. It's 2 hours away. I might as well try it. Well, there was a lot I didn't know, and I had no business. So I said to myself, the minute I become a nuisance to these guys, if I don't know how to fix something or tune something, these air-cooled engines, I have a whole video on that. The air-cooled engines are incredible, but they're finicky as all hell, and you've got to be constantly fiddling with them to keep them running right. It's part of the joy. It's part of what people love about it. It's part of what I'm learning to love about it. They're wildly simple to work on, especially if you've done it before and you kind of know your way around. It's just incredible. And guys can take them out of the buses in like 10 minutes and work on it, put it back in equal time. So, and they do that on this trip. They almost always they'll have at least one engine out of a bus. So that was, but the thing is like what I'm finding, especially, this is really my first time out locally, just doing any kind of real, it's not off-road because I'm on the Forest Service roads, but doing any exploring on rough roads, and it's delightful. Game changer is the which you'll see in other clips, is the Safari windows, which I did right away. Before I did anything, I had those put in because I knew in the New Mexico heat, in a dark colored vehicle, this would be an oven in the summer. And just for exploring, already it's probably 50 degrees out today, and I've got it open because I'm going about 3 miles an hour, and it's just awesome. I mean, it's like beautiful breeze coming in, and with the side windows open, you have this cross breeze. I mean, absolutely delightful, incredible. And even if it were raining, I still wouldn't be getting wet, which it never does anyway, or rarely does. So, just the coolest thing. I am so psyched to become more adept, go further afield, and really start exploring New Mexico to, be in a position where I can really give some informative information in these videos, both with VW exploration, but also just with New Mexico in general. That's sort of the whole theme of New Mexico Overland, New Mexico it's such a delightfully challenging place to get to know, because it's not spoon-fed. When you go into Vermont, you go to any village, and it's going to be a movie set for the most part. There's going to be incredible places, with exceptions. There are places that you need to look for and find, but generally speaking, you're gonna come across an incredible country store with amazing baked goods, or an amazing burger place, or a bistro. Here it's like, that amazing bistro could be part of the nastiest looking strip mall that you've ever seen in some tiny little town. And that place is amazingly good. It's like, you find these places, and it might not be organic, it might not be the best quality food from a conventional standpoint, but it's soulful, and it's made with love, which for me is more important than anything else. Just incredible. So I'm going to video myself going over this thing, and we'll be back to you.